Afternoon, everyone. Cool cats. How you doing today? Today I wanted to do a little bit of a Rex tame, and I didn't want to do it with all the super right gear or the proper setup that I usually do. I know even some of the players on my server, they like to get a Rex in the early game just to have it, and it's a fairly slow-moving animal, so you can do it pretty much with crap. So you see here, I've got my eyes on the prize, and I'm using a simple hide, all primitive crossbow, primitive pike, couple packs of meat. Got a few sleeping bags on me and a couple other items we're going to see in a moment here. And I'm just getting set up to take her down. Can't even get the Rex saddle till level 72. For me, I tend to wait till I can get a saddle before I tame it, but heck, you never know. There could be people on your server that are willing to craft that for you if you bring them the mats. So we're going to be doing this tame at level 50. There is a reason a bit for at least being, you know, a little bit higher up, and that's where I put out my points. So for this kind of thing, speed is going to be pretty key. So I've got the movement speed jacked up to 128.5. Health and stamina are very important. And don't forget that although mind wipes are a little bit of work, you can take a mind wipe at any time, depending on the server settings. And you'll be able to re-establish and re-put down these points as well as unlock your engrams again. On most servers, or official servers, I believe you're allowed one mind wipe per level up. So be careful not to use one until you're about to level up. On our server, though, we have what's called unlimited respecs, so you can use mind wipes all the time. So even though I think I'm a level 100 at this point, I mind wiped prior to doing the video and brought myself up to a 50 because I think you could do it at 30 or 35 or 40, but without enough speed and stamina, this job's going to be pretty tough. Now, I have a few sleeping bags on me. I'm going to drop one for the knockout process and try and reserve the others for once I have it down in case there's trouble. I think I've got 3. Now I'm just getting my gear out. Definitely recommend double checking to make sure that it's trank arrows that are in the crossbow and not accidentally your regular arrows, which I've done. We're going to start firing at this big bastard over here. I think it's a level 50. And honestly, I'm not really going to... our max wilds is 150. I'm not really sure I want to be taming a level 100, 120 using arrows. I probably prefer to have a long neck. I prefer to use a trap. I definitely prefer to be wearing better gear than this. So, based on the fact that we're doing this demonstration, well, he says hello, doesn't he? Based on the fact that we're doing this demonstration for players in the earlier game, I don't have anything I would normally use at all to tame this Rex. Things I would rather be using is a trap, my raft, a long neck as a start, and better gear. What I mean by a trap, in case you don't know, you can see quite a few examples on the channel, but a really easy way to tame is to simply lure the animal into a trap and close the doors. From there, you can easily knock it out while it can't move, and that trap can provide safety for you. In my case, my base is actually situated pretty close to Rex and aggressive animal spawns, so I can go ahead and lure that animal into the trap and just leave him in there. And I can do work on my base while I'm taming it, or crafting, or making brews, or whatnot. So the big mission here is to kind of run them in circles on this beach. I'm in a dangerous area. You see Carno Island off to the right there. I'm in a dangerous area, so I'd like to just zigzag him around here. I kind of scoped the area out a little bit first, and I didn't see too many raptors. So I thought, well, this could be a spot to do this. Sadly, you know, the last thing I need right now is a bunch of animals coming out of nowhere on me, but it may happen. We'll just have to wait and see. You can see a little mistake there. I got myself caught up a bit. And here a little bit of a slowdown. Now, something to remember, while you're reloading that crossbow, your speed really drops, and that goes the same with the long neck. You have to be careful about how close he is to you when you fire, and then at what point do you reload. And the other advantage to the slightly lower level is, depending on how stats are, it's pretty random. This Rex might be a little slower than, say, a 130 or a 140 or 120 if you're playing Vanilla Island. So I'm kind of found out here that it's nice having these trees and rocks with me. Its turn radius obviously much better than the Spino, but it's still not great in the bush or the rocks like this. I'm quite small compared to him, so it does play out well as an advantage for me. I just love that growl. I've kind of lost him a bit, but we know he's around close. We can hear his footsteps. Well, so far so good. I'm, again, trying to work kind of close to my sleeping bag. He doesn't seem to be getting aggroed on it, so I know it's pretty safe. And this way, if I die, we'll be fortunate enough to have that bag close by. Hopefully the Rex sticks around. And again, you know, I'm really not too concerned about whether... I'm trying to make headshots, of course, but I'm not too concerned whether I hit every time. This could be something that in a trap might be easier to focus on. I'm also not making sure I get the hit. You'll see on my icon, or the target reticle, that when I do make a hit, it goes red. In some of these shots, I really don't want to spend time to find out if I've made that hit or not. Hitboxes on Arc are interesting to say the least. In that case, you saw a minute ago, I didn't take the shot because I felt too close. That's something you got to think about. I'm also very, very diligent at this point on trying to keep a close eye on my stamina gauge. There's a good time to slow down to gain stamina, and one of the plus sides here is I did add a lot in my points at the beginning to keep this mission moving. But also, when I stop to wait for him, I do recover just a little bit. So I am running out of food. I'm down a quarter health. And actually these things are kind of looking a little bit more challenging as I continue. And up here in a minute I run into another little bit of trouble. It doesn't turn into a total loss though. If I get to the point in health where my leg breaks, that'll be the end of that. And right here I get stuck. So a good example of just not paying enough attention to my territory. The Rex is gaining on me. He's going to drop right down on me like that, and I believe that's the broken leg. So at this point, death is assured. I'll never be able to outrun that Rex. Down we go. Now this is where, of course, the sleeping bag is one of the critical components, or as I usually prefer, a raft. That raft, you can see how big my tribe is. Those are not all my beds, guys. That's a pretty big tribe we're running. So the raft is going to be what I would usually use, but again, we're trying to do it when you're really not set up well. You don't have enough materials, or you don't want to get the behemoth gates, but you just really want that Rex. And that's not terrible. Even without the saddle, that Rex following you around while you're farming, if you have good control of your whistles, that could come in handy for you and still be a really big benefit. As I said, it's just my opinion. I prefer to have the saddle. It's because I don't love the pathing and I like to park my dinos real straight. That may not be something you're worried about. Drop that sleeping bag right away. I haven't really found the Rex yet. What if he's right behind me and killed me? Sleeping bags are more or less one-time use only. Again, the advantage to having 4 or 5 beds in a raft. And if you haven't seen stuff about rafts or why they're a benefit, or traps, you know, cruise through my channel. There's all kinds of videos there. Oh, luckily we found him up in the forest. My hope at this point, and a Pegamastix took my food. Bringing that topic up, I'm actually carrying 2 crossbows right now, and 2 sets or 2 stacks of 50 trank darts or arrows. One of the reasons is these Pegamastix, they tend to steal food, but those birds that fly around, I call them devil's birds, they'll take that crossbow right out of your hand. And if that was to happen, say, right before the Rex is knocked out, well, that's a bit of a drag because I'm not going to be able to fight that bird to get my crossbow back, but what I can do is fire up another crossbow out of my inventory. So I'm actually carrying 2 primitive crossbows here. Got a little lucky there where he spun on the spot for a bit. Not sure if he was hunting something or just confused from all the dope that's in his system. But either way, I was pretty happy about that when it happened, making my job just slightly easier. And again, 3 sleeping bags I brought, pretty basic, easy to make. I've got 1 I think that's been used, 1 backup, and 1 placed on the ground. So if I die again, we're going to be good to go to get back right where we were. And although, you know, between darts, his torpor might go up a little bit. While I died, his torpor recovered a little. But all is not lost if you can get back to the scene quickly, especially with a big animal like this. Something like a pterodon's going to take off is a whole different story. And we're getting pretty close here, but still going to be a few more minutes. This is a primitive crossbow. If you had a mastercraft or even a journeyman, that's going to do a lot more torpor into him, and that's going to be a big benefit. And honestly, probably by level 50 you have a pterodon, you've flown around and got some supply drops, and you'll most likely have better hide clothing and better weapons than I'm running with. But again, this example was to do it with the bare bones. And on that note, if you've done it with a slingshot or less, please post the video up in the comments. I would love to see that. Anyone that's pulled off a Rex tame with less gear or crappier gear, not including the hide, I didn't even bother putting it back on. Pull it off with a slingshot, man, please put that video up. I'd love to see it. Now here I'm always getting right back in the same jam. Human nature kind of I seem to be drawn to this hook here, but at least I smarten up and don't try and jump the rock. That's a tough hit. Right now I'm down to about a quarter health. I've obviously seen that my food's running low and boosted that. And caution is going to be pretty extreme right now. I'm a pretty non-conservative player. I take a lot of chances. I know I have my sleeping bag there, but you'll notice that I put a little bit more distance between me and the Rex at this point. Just trying to play a little safer. I've got him hung up pretty good here. Just sort of waiting to get a little visual on him. And now I get a chance to break. It's going to help me recover a little bit of health, a little bit of stamina. You can see it's kind of getting better already. I don't want to break another leg. Obviously dying 5 times in the video is going to kind of be a horrible example, so yeah. We're just going to keep working him. At this point you notice he's not coming at me anymore. Great sign. Back in the day this wouldn't happen. It would keep coming at you, and that made it easy to tame. I could tame 2 Rexes at the same time by standing up on a rock. Wildcard fixed that, changed the pathing around a bit. When this guy's getting close to dropping, he will start to run away. He starts to actually experience a little bit of fear, no matter how big he is. What I don't want him to do is run up into that jungle or run out to sea. If he falls asleep in the ocean, he's going to drown. Rexes generally don't do that, though. But he is trying to get up into those jungles, and luckily I've got that cliffside there, and he's just not making his way up. He's getting stuck in a turn cycle. Now, even though he's run away for now, I don't know if it's just a fluke or what, but every now and then I've noticed that these big dinos like Spinals and Rexes, they will turn back at you. And that may be because they've recovered a tiny bit of health or the bit of torpor, I'm not sure, but you got to watch for that one last rage. This isn't the time to be overconfident. He's stuck, he's going down soon. But still, this is the point where I'm starting to taste it, and I really want to stay focused to get that job done. Also, you noticed up the beach is something real nasty there. I can't even really get a great read on it, but I believe that's a Giga sitting up there, and that is a terrible situation. And fantastic, this Rex is down. He's in a decent spot. Again, if I was doing this, I would usually use a trap, or at least spike wall the heck out of this guy. I would wrap him around pretty good in spike walls with a decent distance between him and the walls, making sure that something doesn't like glitch right through there. Now, I didn't bring anything like meat or anything, so I'm going to put Narco in him right away. There's no rush to get the food in. Might as well go ahead and put that hide gear back on now that I have a second. And I'm actually feeling pretty good about having the Rex down at this point. There's a couple other things I like to do to kind of make it easier for me. Mostly opinion stuff. I always put a campfire down, but that just helps me to see it sometimes. Even in daytime, you get a little light coming off. If I die, I didn't have a sleeping bag down, that campfire could help me get back to the spot. If I did die, I'll usually really take a hard look at the X where it is on the map. So, and I may even write down the coordinates because under pressure sometimes mistakes are made. This is concerning. I'm not loving this. Now I'm going up to try and see what level it is to maybe think about taking it down for prime. In the end, I decided, nah, things are going pretty good. I'm going to not bother with that. I don't want to mess with it. I did or do load up my regular arrows quite soon because I don't want to have any troubles there. And they do more damage, so if I do get into a bit of a headache, I'm going to go ahead and get those arrows geared up for a fight. Starting to collect the meat now off anything easy I can find. The other advantage to the campfire, if I ran out of meat, which I probably won't with that stack, but if I ran out of meat, I can get some cookouts on the go. I don't know, it's just something I've done since the beginning. It's based on a weird theory that animals don't like campfires, but I'm not sure, A, that Ark follows that, like realisticness, and B, I'm not even sure. There's probably lots of animals that do like fire and come by and visit it, so I'm not a whatever, an animal biologist type dude, or whatever you call it. People that work with animals. So yeah, now we're starting to think about getting this campfire up. Going to need a few things for that. Obviously some materials to craft it, so I went ahead and crafted myself a crap box stone pick. And also, I want to be able to farm the meat off the dodos. I'm a little better off with the pick. Of course, again, this is stuff I would have brought with me in advance. But in this demo, we're trying to do it with as little as possible. I think the only things I'd be willing to part with are the hide clothing. I would not want to do it without a spear, at least. Dilos roll up, it's pretty effective. Even a raptor, for me, a spear is a decent one. Sword is preferred. and I would not want to do it without a crossbow. I can't imagine doing it with a slingshot. I doubt it's even possible, but maybe it is. Let me know in the comments. So we're getting our campfire up. We're going to grab a little bit of wood for it, and then we're going to farm a little bit more meat. That will get us into a position where things are pretty comfortable. At this point, if I could, I'd be using the hide that I get off these animals as well as extra wood and get myself some spike walls crafted. Now, let's talk about what I'd really want to do if I tamed a Rex. Okay, I would, if I didn't have Rexes spawning near my base, or it was too far to kite them or lure them back, I would go ahead and I start every game non-PvP, and I've even done it in official PvP before. I start every game by building a raft. I then put sunken foundations and ceilings on it, which gives me room for a trap, which also works as a logistic thing to be able to move my dinos around. And I get a little house on it, you know, definitely a smithy, a forge, things like that. You can see that video here on the channel as well if you want to take a look. With that raft, I can cruise around the island, or Ragnarok, or Center. Obviously not a plan on Scorched Earth or Aberration, though. There's not enough water there to justify that. Even on Ab, though, I built a raft on the lake, but it turned out to be a waste of time. So yeah, once I get that raft up, I can then move around the map into various places. And I have beds, forges, smithies to repair tools. And in the case where I'm going out for a big hunt or tame like this, I will bring one pre-made behemoth gate, 14 to 16 fence foundations, all being stone, a significant amount of stone door frames, and four rows high. I'm going to put those, and I'll build the trap right on site. So what happens is I'll see the Rex, get eyes on it. It's a nice level I want. I've got my spyglass. I'm on my raft. I'm safe in the water. That spy, I see that. Oh, there's a 120 there. I want to tame it, and first I will build the trap, a safe distance away, but not too far. Get that behemoth door gate open, and 4 walls high on those door frames, and with door frames at the back. And what I'll do is I'll lure that Rex into the trap with the door open, fly right out that back door frame, and run around and close the door. Now I've got the T-Rex in a trap. That gives me a lot of time to go to my raft, get my narco juice, this and that. You can even plant flowers or gardens on your raft, and you have narco berries coming in. Of course, the Rex likes juice, and that's how I would do that. The next thing I would probably do is have like if it was later game, I might even have a fridge on that raft, or wood, and I'd be able to put my prime or other types of things in there. Kibble for this guy is from the scorpion, or the palmo as I call it, palmo scorpius I believe. Sorry if I'm not saying that correctly. That wouldn't hurt. They're slow producing eggs. You're going to need a few of them. Not everyone's going to be getting their first Rex with kibble. So we're doing this with straight meat. I would recommend mutton or prime. Would be a lot better if you can get it. But I have not any other violent animals with me here. I'm not sure I really want to go fight a Carno, even a low-level one with just my spear. I might. I'd probably do it with my crossbow and arrows if one was around. But we're looking at just getting that first Rex. That first low-level Rex. The purpose of this Rex, if this was a real game here, would be to have him come out with me on my trike when I'm farming as an extra method of security. And, you know, just to keep things going. We can't get the saddle till level 72, so there's not a lot we can do with it, but it will provide amazing security for us while we're out there. Early game, farming, he's going to feel real good to have over your shoulder, of course. And it'll help you rank up a little faster, I'm sure, because you'll be able to get more work done. Carry quite a bit of weight, too. So, and a lot of people just like them. A lot of new players come in, and it's like T-Rex. Everyone knows what a T-Rex is. They make the big growl. So people just like to have them even before they reach level 72. And on a lot of servers, even if they're kind of mean PvP servers, you can sometimes find a person that will be willing to craft that for you. And you just need to bring them the mats. So we're giving them a little juice. Here's the thing. The day I recorded this in particular was the update day for the extinction or whatnot, or the archaeology thing, whatever, with all the colors, and the new Tech Rex came out. So I was a little concerned that I might have to shut down the server to give it an update pretty soon. So I did keep his narco up pretty high. You could, in theory, set a timer, check Google, set a timer and watch that torpidity go right to the bottom, and then juice it, and it goes all the way up. And that gives you a lot of time. Kind of time we're talking about watching TV on the side. I wouldn't be doing that if it wasn't in a trap and if it wasn't safe. And in my case, I generally keep, especially on a day with this possible server update, or if you know, if I was playing on an older PC that crashed a lot or something like this, or any kind of issues like that, I would want to keep him quite close to the top on the unconscious level. And the reason being, if something goes wrong, you've got a lot of time to resolve the issue before he wakes up. So something to think about. On the other hand, when dinos burn torpidity very slowly and stay asleep, you get a very long timer before it gets all the way to the bottom, and you got to juice them. And then when you juice them, it's got a long way to get to the top, and then it's got to go all the way to the bottom again. And on some tames, we're talking, you could be watching a full movie. You could almost go out and do stuff if you check your stuff on Google and check your dodo calculators and whatnot there. So that's something definitely you're going to want to think about. In my case, though, we're doing it the simple, basic, derpish way. I'm a bit of a derpish player. I get the job done, but I don't get too big into the technicalities of it. I'm just not a guy that likes to memorize stats and all this sort of stuff. So, you know, there is a lot of information out there all over Google that'll show you how to do these things by the numbers, but I don't roll that way. Now what happens here is every time he takes a bite, of course, his taming percentage you see at the bottom in yellow goes up. As time passes, his taming effectiveness goes down. So in the case of pretty much every dino in the game that I can think of, the faster you tame it, the more taming effectiveness it will get, or the higher that percentage will stay, and the more levels it'll gain. When we see the taming effectiveness go down, we also see it go from plus 24 levels to plus 23 levels. So the faster you tame it, the less that number has a chance to drop. And the food, the better the food, the faster he tames. So I would think that in most servers, the top food for the Rex would be the palmo kibble, or palmo kibble egg, or scorpion egg kibble. Next would be mutton usually, and that's debatable on depending on server settings. Sometimes mutton can be more of a benefit as well. After that, you get into your prime meat. Probably would be cooked prime, then meat, then cooked meat. And you could look into all that and see what that is. But that's kind of the basics of it. We don't have kibble production at this point. Of course, we're showing this early game. I don't feel that for the level 50. Without obvious prime right in my face, I'm not going to be going out and getting any. I just want to get this dino done. And I won't spend a lot more time with this video here. Maybe a couple more minutes, just because basically what I'm going to be doing for the next little while is just rinse and repeat, right? We're going to keep killing dodos. We're going to keep watching the narco levels. And we're going to secure the area as best we can. Obviously, this area would be a lot easier to secure if I had spike walls around it. Even better if I had a trap. Even better if I had a trap and a raft, and so on and so forth. We've already discussed that. You get it. We're doing this probably the harder way to do it, really. Solo, crappy gear, no spike walls, in a dangerous area. Now, I did get lucky. That dino we saw, which was either a Giga or a Rex down the beach, has not shown any interest in me up till now. You know, and you see there, I've got the double stack of arrows at least, and my regular arrows in case things get violent. As I mentioned earlier, we got to have those 2 crossbars just in case one of them gets stolen. And look, the damage is already halfway down. So had I died a couple more times or missed more shots, there's a small chance that crossbow might have broken. I would feel a little more comfortable with some more meat, but we'll get some cooking a little bit after. But otherwise, I mean, that was a really basic gear Rex tame, soloed, without too many problems. You know, the one death, how big a difference did it really make? We had that sleeping bag there. And of course we have another one right close by. I don't know which animals will go eat a passed out Rex. I have a feeling a hyena might. And obviously a Dilo's not going to go up and smash that Rex while it's passed out. Shouldn't be obvious. It did back before in the EA days of the game. But nowadays they don't. Hyenas, I'm not sure. I've heard different opinions. I haven't had any hyenas close by for me. But that's a good reason to have spike walls. You just can't be 100% sure what's going to come up and start busting your balls. And up top, there's a little cliff that overhangs this guy. What if someone just unintentionally fell off the cliff, right? So you might even want to get walls up there. Best is in a trap, though. We talked about it. Anyways, that wraps it up, guys. We'll see you soon. Thanks a lot. Make sure you like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. And all that stuff you know about. One thing you might have noticed is 0 lag that whole time I was playing, and no rubber banding. A big reason for that is we do play on very high-end, high bandwidth, high RAM servers. We play on 4. They're all in a cluster. You got your 2 PvE servers and 2 PvP servers all connected together. And I was playing on the island, which is our friendly social community. We're doing a playthrough of the game, trying to get everything done, all the stuff done. I mean, explorer notes, Steam achievements, caves, bosses, every single dino tamed, whatever you name it. We want to do it before the DLC comes out. Thanks, y'all. Big's around. Look me up, figure me out, come see me, and you guys have a great day.